having.
Now let's look at that political angle. You see, the Northerners saying we are not part of this protest. Does it mean that if they had participated in this protest, many will say that they are not with the president, even though they said let SARS be scrapped?
But the president came out to make a speech and said the restructuring or scrapping of SARS is just one step that his government is taking, which means the president has accepted and appreciated the positions of Nigerians, whether from the north or from the south, whether from the east or from the west. What matters is Nigeria, and there is a security challenge in Nigeria, and there are some security personnel that were perceived to be part of the problem of the security we are having, in the sense that they are maltreating those that are supposed to protect. So if they protest, I think you will not see it as if they are doing something that is out of order. And also, it is within the ambit of the right of any organization to come and say we are not part of it. Don't forget, if you are talking of northern groups or northern association, youth groups or youth association, in the north alone you will have more than 500 of them. So if one or two come out to say we are not part of it, what if the rest are part of it? Or what if the rest refuse to say anything about accepting what was going on in the other part of the country? Because if they don't, possibly they would have all come out unanimously and disagree with it. So where you find 1, 2, 3 organizations coming to say we disagree, there's nothing wrong with that. It is within the ambit of their right as an association, as people, as Nigerians, as northerners to discard. But if they are looking at it politically as if they are doing something in the favor of the president has just made them understand that he did not appreciate what they did and he is not with them, because he has accepted that there's a problem in the arrangement of SARS. He has also, through the Inspector General of Police, directed the scrapping of SARS, and the Inspector General of Police have scrapped the SARS, and the president has come to commend the Inspector General of Police for scrapping the SARS, and he has also said it's just one out of so many reforms. That is to say, even before the protest, I repeat, it is already in the new framework, the new Police Reform Act, that SARS will be scrapped and other organizations will be scrapped, and there will be rearrangement of the police structure itself. So it's not an
I'm happy with the way you're coming and the angle you're taking. I'm beginning to understand that perhaps there's a need for reorientation in the north.
That's it.
For us to understand what is right
and what is wrong.
What is wrong. When you are to be political.
When you are to be a Nigerian, you be real and neutral.
Now, well, we will come back. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at the issue of protest. That a mere protest has brought about a change in the security architecture. Let's take a short break and come back. Welcome back. This is Guest of the Week on Nagarta Radio Kaduna with Dr. Awwal Abdullahi Aliyu. He is a security expert, an ex-serviceman, and he's been talking to us about the scrapping of SARS. Yes, Doctor, I said we will look at the issue of protests. There were several attempts to call for reforms in other areas, either political, agriculture, education. Look at the issue of ASU and FG. Nothing worked. Up till now, nobody is saying anything. But just when there was a problem with SARS, there was a protest all over the nation. Even as I'm talking to you now, the protests are on. All of a sudden, the president and the Inspector General of Police decided to listen to the voice of Nigeria. So can we now begin to say that protest is another means for calling for change? And is the government beginning to listen to the cries of Nigerians?
Well, ordinarily protest is supposed to be the last resort that a group or organization or people are supposed to undertake in demanding for their right or something that they think they need. You understand? So I don't buy protest as an option to making government listen or making government function or making government work. It's supposed to be the last resort. But if it must take place, then it must be peaceful, it must be well mannered, it must be well arranged, it must be the organizers must ensure that at the process of the protest, there should be no breach of law, there should be no destruction of properties, there should also be no loss of life in the process, so that if it is peaceful, well arranged, well organized, well presented, I think it is constitutional for Nigerians to come out and air their views or present their position either individually or as a group. This is a constitutional provision. But some of the problem with protests is you as an organizer of protests, you know what you are planning, you know what you are organizing. But from the moment the protests begin, you don't know how it's going to end. It might end up peacefully, it might end up violently. Now, if it end up peacefully, so be it, to your own credit. If it end up violently, the organizers of the protest might end up being prosecuted. Instead of protesting to get what they are demanding or what they think is their right, they will end up being prosecuted for breaching the law of the country. That is the problem with protest. But like I said, there is nothing wrong in Nigerians protesting, because there is a freedom of movement, freedom of speech, freedom of association, and freedom. When you say freedom of association, that is to say where a lot of Nigerians can come together in one place for a particular aim or purpose or particular goal, wanting to achieve it. So protest is just one of those provisions. But like I said, it must be peaceful, it must be orderly, it must be properly organized, it must not infringe on the right of any Nigerian. It must also not break the law of the country. If it is properly organized, why not? So be it. For long as that will be the reason why government will listen. But also, you asked if protest is another means that to force government to listen, or to make government to listen and then carry out or execute what the protesters' demands are. Well, the world over, protest has been one last resort where people complain and talk and talk and talk. The government refuses to listen, then people may resort to protest. It has happened in America when there's this killing of the blacks, and then President Trump, I think a lot of the killings were going on and the government was not doing anything or saying anything about it. Americans went to street, and don't forget, it was a black man that was killed, or black men that are being killed, but the white men, and if you like, the colored people joined the protest. Not only the colored people, but the white Americans joined the protest in order to say, no, this is too much. This is human beings, whether black or colored person, they are human beings. They have lives the way we all have lives. So, and they also have rights to their own lives and liberty as Americans. So they demanded for it through protest, and I guess the President Trump listened to them, and then I think something has been done about it. The rate of killings had drastically reduced, possibly from 100% to about maybe 25% or 20%, which means they protested and they drive home their position, and then the government listened to them. And protest also the world over, it's a means of making government to carry out a function that the people wish it should be carried out, that they call on the government, and the government refused to listen. So they had to come out on the street and make the government understand this is what we want, and we are insisting that as a government that we elected into power, you need to do this for us, so do it. Now, this is where the political issue comes in. If you check, since it is a protest, people are coming to protest. It seems as if it is a protest against the president. You understand? It's as if it is a protest against the president, and that is why some few northern organizations are saying we are not part of it, because they feel those people are protesting against the president. But in the real sense of it, if you look at it critically, they are not protesting against the president, but they are asking the president to listen to them, that this is their demand, and that this is what is going on in social organization that you needed to look into and do something about. That was what happened. Now, check the issue of protest. If protest will be the reason why government will listen, I think not too long ago, there were protesters that were asking for the heads of the service chiefs, that they need to go and things like that. It was everywhere. But the president didn't work on that, because he knew the national security challenges. He knew the national security problem. Possibly he looked at, if he listened to that hues and cries at that time and act on it, it might not be too good for national security. Possibly that was the reason why he refused to act on it. But this one on the policing, don't forget, they are not asking for the head of IG or the DIGs or AIGs or even commissioners of police. No, they are saying there's a particular structure within the police system of Nigeria that is not working, that they are disagreeing with, and that they needed to be rejigged or rearranged. And that is just what the president and the IG listened to, and they acted. And I think it was a good thing that they listened to Nigeria. And I hope that next time when Nigerians are calling for whatever reform, change, adjustment or rejigging of whatever it is, the president and the authorities should listen, because they are not doing it because they hate the government. I think they are doing it because they may possibly be seeing what the government are not seeing, or they may possibly know what the government don't know, because their government are at the top there and the people are at the grassroots, so they know what their problem is.
Well, I won't go before I ask you this question. Is this protest mostly by the Southwest a regional motive, or does it have to do with Amotek? Because there are a lot of statements on air, clear the air for those who are listening to us. Does it have anything to do with Amotek?
Well, if you want to look at it politically, you may align it with it if you want to look at it politically. But if you want to look at it nationally, on the arrangement of national security, you could say that it has nothing to do with Amotekun, because Amotekun is only in the south. But you have some people from the southeast and south being part of the protest, and those people in the southeast and south had nothing to do with Amotekun, because Amotekun is a southwest arrangement. So if you look at it on a national security basis, you could say it has nothing to do with Amotekun. But if you look at it on a political arrangement, on a political basis, trying to score a political goal, then you could attach it to Amotekun and then...
Please, finally, if the northern youth or northerners decide to take to the street to protest against the act of banditry, will it still be in line with... I'm not asking for it, but since we have seen people do this and they were listened to, can we do the same thing for banditry?
Well, that is the danger. But don't forget, even before the protest of removal of SARS in the southeast, there was a protest of the act of banditry in Katsina.
So why was
there was protest not only once, not only twice, not even 3 times. There were a lot of protests that had happened in Katsina state because of the banditry and the kidnapping. So it is not just going to be a new thing if there is a protest. The only thing I said is if there's going to be a protest for demand, it should be orderly, it should be done in a way that does not infringe on the right of any Nigerian, also does not interfere with the law of the federation, as well as it will not also endanger national security. For as long as that is not going to happen, I think people are at liberty to protest where they think they have made a lot of requests and demand to government, and then the government refused to listen to the request and the demand. So I think if for any reason Nigerians or northerners come up to say, okay, we are also going on the street because there is banditry, there's because of this kidnapping, and then there is armed robbery and what have you, cattle rustling and what have you, I think it is within their right, even though we feel that the president is doing everything. Because check it yourself, you see that there are security agencies, well-armed soldiers are everywhere within the northern Nigeria in the name of trying to curtail these challenges of banditry. So I don't think there will be need for any protest.
Well, I have a lot of questions to ask you, but time will not permit us, and this how far we can go in the program. Our guest has been Dr. Awwal Abdullahi Aliyu, a security expert who talked to us about the disbandment of SARS.